this evening. This is, by the way, a very special show for me. This is the first time that I've done a show here in the theater in a few years, so I'm kind of excited. Before we begin, I'd like to make you two promises. Number one is simply that tonight you're going to see a show unlike anything you've ever seen before. And number two, well, sadly, Magic has developed a sort of reputation over the last few years. So I'd like to promise up front that tonight I won't insult your intelligence. There's better ways to do it. I'd like to share with you a quote that has served me very well while I developed this show, and just in specific over the last few years of my entire life. And the quote comes from Albert Einstein. Einstein, you may recognize him as the father of modern physics, but he once said, the most beautiful thing that we can experience in this lifetime is a mystery. See, a mystery stands at the cradle of all true science and all true art. So with that, I'd like to share with you some of the mysteries from my own life. We'll start with something I'm sure you're all familiar with. I live in Vegas now, obviously, so playing cards are everywhere. And again, I'm going to have three touched. I do want you to know in advance that the three cards that we touch, we're not at all concerned with what's on the front. We're only concerned with quantity. So in favor, would you just touch it on? So anyone know? Anyone that you'd like. Now, if you'd like, you can remember what these three cards are. Again, it's not nearly as important to us as just the number. It's the 8, a Jack, and a 10. The reason we're not concerned with what they are is because there's one card that we are going to concern ourselves with. Since you're right up front, would you do me a favor? Place your finger on the back of any one of these cards. Now, I want you to know before you do this, the actions you take right now will affect everything else that you see for the rest of the evening. So no pressure. Anyone? This one. Would you like to change your mind? I always try to give you a chance to change your mind. Oh, the Queen of Hearts. It's a very powerful card. See, in the ancient tarot decks, the Queen of Hearts is what we would consider to be, say, a card of influence. What that means is that the people that choose it tend to be the type of people that would be able to influence everything around them. The Queen of Hearts specifically represents a woman who would be able to use the powers over love and emotion to control the rise and fall of dynasties. Cleopatra is a fantastic example. Within the deck of cards, it's not nearly as cryptic. Within the deck of playing cards, cards of influence simply influence the cards around them. In this case, it would be a club, a diamond, and a spade. So you did fantastic. Give her a round of applause. Now, it may be hard to believe, but using only 4 cards, you can actually tell everything that there is to know about a person. And I'll give you an example. Everyone think of any one of the 4 queens, whichever one you prefer. And for the uninitiated, that would be a heart. Those are called spades, the diamond, and the club. Whichever one that you'd prefer, be it diamond, club, spade, or heart. Let's see. So if I were to ask you to name your favorite of the 4 queens, which one would you go for? The Queen of Diamonds. The Queen of Diamonds, the diamond actually represents wealth, money, financial security and strength, essentially. Generally, older men that were in the military specifically go for the spade. See, the spade represents a sword. Women, again, tend to go for the heart. It's just one of those fun little things that happen. My personal preference is towards the club. The club represents the ruler's wand. That was a sign of intelligence and wisdom. I call it cocky, but that seems to be the one that I've always preferred. In Vegas, I have noticed that more women than not go for the diamond. And I think that says something. I don't want to make any gross generalizations about the entire group of people, but, I'll let it speak for itself. It's been said in the past that human beings are nothing more than breath and shadow. Just like that, you'll find the ace of spades, the ace of clubs, the ace of diamonds. Oh, I'm sorry. They don't always work on the very first try. Much better. If we simplify this a little bit, we get rid of a few of the cards. this will work a little bit better. This time we only use 4. And I know that for some of you sitting in the back, it's a little hard to see if the cards are sitting flat on the table. So I thought about it and figured out that we have these. Just a couple little matchbooks. These we'll call them easels to prop up the cards. I'm sure you've all heard the rules that magicians never do the same trick twice. There's a bit of a misconception as to why that rule exists. See, some people are under the impression that if you see the same trick over and over again, well, you'll figure it out. Not quite accurate. The truth of the matter is that if you see something over and over and you don't figure it out, well, sometimes you feel bad. And believe it or not, we as magicians don't enjoy that. But I'll prove it to you, because I know it's hard to believe me. I'll do the trick twice. I'll do it once, and then I'll show you exactly what we're going to do as we do it the second time. The Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades will always begin on your right-hand side. It's very important, because the Ace of Clubs has to start on the left. So very, very important. Now remember that shadow. Because just like that, the Ace of Spades jumps over to your left. Because the Ace of Spades, or Clubs, has to be on the right. Oh, thank you. I come prepared. It happens. That's what happens when you wear a new suit. So, I came prepared, just in case. We'll do it again now, because again, I want you to see exactly what's going on. You have nothing but the 4 aces. There's my spade. The Ace of Spades always, remember, begins over on the right. Simple reason is that the Ace of Clubs has to be going on the left. Remember the shadow? Did you see him switch? No worries. Make him switch back. Well, okay, it sounds kind of funny until you think about it. And if they were to switch back to where they started, well, they started in my hand. That's why we don't do them twice. Maybe later, maybe later. Aspirin, it helps. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. It's just one of those things. We'll get back to the cards in a little while. Now, one of the number 1 questions that I'm asked. Oh, okay. I'll be honest with you guys. The number 1 question that I'm asked as a magician in Vegas is, "Can you make my wife disappear?" I agree. The answer is actually really simple. I tell the guy, "Leave your girl at the bar right over there for 10 minutes. You'll never see her again." They don't like me after that one. But my favorite question that I'm asked is, why would I choose magic? Why would I choose magic as an art form? It could have done anything. And I chose an art that was inherently deceptive. My job is essentially to lie to you. The truth of the matter is that from a very young age, I was a very shy child. I was extremely introverted. And it led me down a very interesting path, because I was very curious as to why my mind worked in some ways and other people would think about things in a different perspective. And it kind of led me down a path of thinking about things like psychology and religions, but belief structures overall became one of my favorite things to study. Now, these are coins from an ancient Chinese belief structure. Take a peek. These are all coins from the Chinese I Ching. It's an ancient fortune-telling system. The other thing would be can you pull on it? Make sure it's solid. Fantastic. One thing to know about the coins, they have 2 symbols on one side, 4 on the other. They don't bend or fold in any way. That's extremely important. would you do me a favor actually and put all 3 of the coins on the ribbon? Actually, thread them on the ribbon. I used to say put. I would tell someone to put the coins on the ribbon and tell a kid put them on the ribbon. Slightly different than what we're shooting for. Perfect. Are they all on? Oh, close. Oh, we're on you for that. You're right. There's extra gravity on this side. Here, I'll take these. This is the hardest part. That's why I have someone else do it. Tug on them? Oh, those are all there. By the way, I talk about this being from the I Ching, the ancient fortune-telling system. I'm not so much interested in the fortune-telling side of it, more in the symbolism behind each of the coins. As I do this, you'll also notice my sleeves stay pulled back as far as the guys on MTV tell me is socially acceptable. Everything happens at the tips of the fingers, and perhaps more importantly, you get to see it. See, the first coin was said to represent a person's mental well-being. That's what causes you to see things. Sir, are you right-handed or left-handed? Hold up your left fingertips just like that. I'm going to give you the 2 coins. I want you to squeeze tight. Don't let go. See, the second coin was said to represent physical well-being. Keeps things from slipping from between your fingers. The third coin happens to be my personal favorite, and that's the one that represents spiritual well-being. So that's the one that I hang on to. The interesting thing, though, is the ribbon. You notice the ribbon is a bright red. Red is the color of blood. It's the color that gives us life. It's a very powerful color. Also very important is that the coins will always stay on the ribbon. If they come off, they lose some of their strength. Most important of all, though, is that you never separate the coins. See, if you separate them, they lose all of their strength. This has to be done in 3s. Don't worry though, if you do lose one, well, they just go right back where they belong. You know, the fascinating thing about belief is that using belief, we can actually transcend anything. There's nothing that we can't do if we believe. It's a fantastic concept. And I'll prove what we're getting at. I'm sure you're all familiar with these. This is just a fork. Check it out for me. It doesn't open or bend or do any of the goofy stuff, right? It's just a fork. What is your name? Anne? And I want you to keep your eyes on that little part right there. There's a little bit of a bend. Not much, but it's enough. And if I were to give the fork a little rub, you'll see it start to move. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. No, it's a little bit more. It's not much, obviously. If we were to go further, it would just look like that. And again, just a bit. Do me a favor, are you right-handed or left-handed? Hold up your index finger. And I want you to just rub right here. That ends right under your finger, which is kind of odd. Let's try this. Pull out your hand palm down for me. I'm going to give you the fork. I want you to squeeze. And actually, could you come up here? Give a round of applause. Now, loosen up just a little bit. I want you to think about the fork. I want you to concentrate on the fork, right in the middle. I want you to feel it. As you hold it in your hand, you'll feel it start to heat up. And it won't burn you, of course, but it will get warmer. And as you feel it start to get warmer, you're going to feel it start to turn almost like plastic. You loosen up just a little bit. I don't want you to hurt yourself. Just give it a little bit of a twist. Now, I don't know if you can see on the other end that they're twisting at slightly different speeds. There's a reason for it, and that's because you see right here in the middle, there's that big Now, obviously, there's no way to really muscle that out. And I could let people try, and it would make me laugh, smile a little bit, but it works out. No, you're not done, no. Here's what I need you to do, Anne. I need you to just blow on the fork. Started drinking a little early on Friday. I understand. Do me a favor, hold out your right hand. I'm going to place this right here and give it a little rub. Oh, leave it flat. There you go. Just that way it'll get right under your hand. You'll actually feel it start to move. There you go. Much better. Well, all it takes is a little rub like this to cause it to bend. We can even give it a little blow. And that bends in there, right? I mean, make sure those, it's not rubber, those are really there. Fantastic. No. Eventually you might need them. It happens. Let's take this a step further, though. And actually put a little twist inside of that tongue. Right in front of you. If we want to go all out, hold up your fingers just like this. This is going to be kind of weird. Here, blow. Blow in your arm. Blow in your finger. Perfect. There's a reason for it. That would do as a souvenir. There you go. Thank you. Well, there's not much else that I can do with it. Be careful. The edges are sharp. It's just one of the caveats to doing this. See, the majority of what I like to play with these days, belief structures are fascinating, as I said, but I love messing around with human perception. What people see. There we go. What people see fascinates me, and I'll explain why. I never once asked him to take the pen. See? It's perception. Here in the States, if somebody tries to hand you something, your natural instinct is to take it. Make sense? I didn't ask for it back either, but I just had to prove a point. If we're talking about perception, though, I'll give everyone an idea for perception. I'm going to touch my fingers together 3 times, and on the count of 3, solid silver coin will appear. 1, 2, 3. At those fingertips. Okay, that's the first one. That one wasn't quite fair. The second one comes out of the sleeve. I'm sure you've heard that one before. These, by the way, are sterling silver American Walking Liberty $50. These coins, each one of these coins is over 70 years old. They're an individual piece of American history and artwork. These were given to me by my grandfather. Coincidentally, my grandfather taught me my very first magic trick. He taught me that if I reach behind my ear, I can produce a coin. But since it looks better down there, that's where I leave it. The idea is simple, though. You're going to see the coins jump from one hand into the other. Not quite like that. That's not very magical. The idea, though, is that one at a time, the coins jump like that. Now, that's the first one. Of course, you don't see them go, but you hear them. So if I do it again, it goes a little slower. Just there. Now, when I do the second coin, though, you get to hear it. This is always kind of fun. Keep an eye on the tube. You hear it before you see it. You know, if you hear it before you see it, what if we could change that? What if you could see it before you heard it? Well, that's an interesting thing to think about. But if I take the coins at the tips of the fingers up here, you know the exact moment they go from here to here. It happens instantly. That's the first one. Leaves 2 left. I'll tell you why it works. Again, we go back to perception. So you think you see 2 coins here and 1 over here. That's actually backwards, but if you don't know, I don't have to tell you. Oh, thank you. Of course, some people think that I do sneaky stuff on the back side of the coins. Trust me, if I want you to see it go, I'll let you see it go. More impressive, I think, though, is to use the psychology. See, if I tell you to look over here, well, you do exactly what you just did, and you look over here. It's reverse psychology. Anyone with kids understands reverse psychology very well. See, if I tell you to look here, you automatically look here. But when you look over here, you forget about all three of them. So what have we done so far? We've made coins appear. I made them bounce back and forth because they went both ways, actually. The only thing left to do, logically, is get rid of them. Of course, if I pull the sleeves back, this becomes slightly more impressive. Again, just two. By the way, this is the part where people accuse me of sneaking things into my pockets when you're not looking. That's not fair. So I'll tell you why it works. Exactly, the real reason is what's going on. The coin doesn't vanish. You see, the coin just gets really small. It's almost like a piece of glitter. You can't really see it, but this is absolutely where it is. And if we bring it back, you just have to let it cool off first. And then find it. What's better, though, is to make it go completely, which just means hanging it in the air, and it'll stay there as long as I need it to. But I'll hang on to that one for later. You know, you guys get to watch me manipulate my own money a little bit, but let's try something with some of your money. Does anyone have a $5 bill on them? Just a 5. We'll keep it nice and simple. Do you have one? Yeah. Fantastic. Wow, you had that prepared. Here. Instead of doing it that way, we'll just do this. Take the marker. In big bold letters, I want you to write your name right across the front so everyone will be able to read it. Whatever you do, don't poke Lincoln in the face. He had a really bad experience one time, so he doesn't like it. Sometimes you do the historical jokes for you. I did that joke for my family, and they didn't get it, but that's Florida public education, so it works out. Thank you. So, now, what you just did, Tomas, is what we affectionately refer to here in the States as a felony. You defaced federal currency. That's why I didn't tell you this before you wrote. But there's a reason, a very specific reason that this would be a felony. It happens. And that's because this is real money. See, if this were counterfeit money, it wouldn't matter. The reason that we know this isn't counterfeit money is that they have little security fibers that run through the bill. So if we were to take out a security fiber, well, then this would be counterfeit. See, most people have never seen these before, but this is exactly what they do. They have one of your bills. Thank you. So, Tomas, now that we have your counterfeit 5, we can do anything we want with it, really. Does anyone have a lighter? No. No. I wouldn't do that to you. That would be hilarious, but it'd be replace the 5. Watch close. All you do is wave over the top. Tomas, your 5 slowly melts and disappears. Tomas, you have a 20. Nobody ever has a 20. Tomas, I have an idea. We have a security fiber. Take this to a bank, tell them what happened. They'll tell you where to stick the fiber. No, there's a better way. See, before I come out, there's a reason I specifically asked for a 5. I am a working magician, so we don't have a lot of money in the wallet, but I always keep one spare 5 with me before I go anywhere, just in case I lose a 5 in the show. I keep it, bear with me for a second. Would you undo my zipper? Thank you. If I do it, people think I cheat. Don't make your own jokes up. That's not fair. Look inside. That's where I keep a spare 5. Now, Tomas, I remember earlier today whenever I got this 5 and put it in here, what I don't remember is your name being on it before we started. There's only one problem. This is still a counterfeit 5. So we have to put the security fiber back inside. Make sure it doesn't come out of the bottom. If it comes out of the bottom and it's poking out in any way, you get in a lot of trouble. This is where you get to use the pin as a magic wand. It's the closest thing to a magic wand my agent lets me use. Look, give it a little wave like that. You should skip her. I don't trust. Well, I'd like to tell you a little bit about why I no longer live in Albuquerque. See, I lived here for about 5 years. I was actually stationed here at Kirtland Air Force Base, and they sent me away for a year. But after I got out, I came back. And in the time that I was back, all people were telling me was that if you want to learn the best magic and from the best magicians, you have to go to Las Vegas. So I moved to Las Vegas so that I could meet the greatest magicians of the world. Lance Burton, Siegfried Roy, David Copperfield weren't coming to meet me here. So I figure if I go there, I get to run into those guys, right? One of those guys, though, sadly passed away before I had the opportunity to meet him. His name was Michael Skinner. Michael Skinner was an amazing close-up magician, and for 25 years, he actually performed at the Golden Nugget Casino on Fremont Street. So think about it, 25 years, he was their house magician. He's the only guy working. And it didn't matter if you were a garbage man from Arkansas or the President of the United States. If you were in his casino, you got to watch him work. It's a great place where everyone could come together and kind of forget who they were for a little bit. So I'd like to share with you one of the pieces that Michael Skinner made famous, a piece of his legacy that he left with us. And it uses nothing more than a book of matches. In fact, we only need a couple of these. But every time that I do this, people accuse me of using extras. So to make sure that we can't use any extras, get rid of them. Let's not put that one in. Better. How many do you see? 1, 5. Jane, I need you to do me a favor. You have a very important job. I need you to hang on to the book of matches. Small miracle using only 2 matches. Watch close, it happens fast. Match number 1 starts in my right hand. Match number 2 starts in my left. If I wiggle the thumbs, they switch places. Okay, there's a bit of a problem. They look the same. So I get it. 1 starts in the right, 1 starts in the left. If I only wiggle 1 thumb, only 1 goes. A little bit better? Yeah. What if we could make it better? Think about this for a second. If they start together, well then they have to jump together. The only problem is that if they don't have anywhere to jump to. So let's just get rid of it. Now, Jane, you counted the matches in the match book, though, right? Before we started. Well, everyone counted. I mean, you guys got to see them. Now, think about it. They were all burned. Yes. That was the most important part. Jane, there were 5. Open it up. How many do you see now?
5 plus 2.
5 plus 2, so 7. Wait. Let me earn it. Jane, are the matches sitting there, or are they actually fused fiber for fiber back in place? Look, I want you guys to see this. This is the part that gets me. Those are really in there. Absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt. Fused back in place. Our time together tonight is coming very quickly towards the end. I know, sad enough, but I do have a few extra things that I'd like to share with you. When we began this evening, I shared with you a quote from Albert Einstein. That guy, coincidentally, just so happens he's wearing Einstein on his shirt, which is fantastic. I'll take full credit for that as well. One of the interesting things about Einstein that fascinated me was that when he passed away, they found three things in his desk. There was a dreidel, which is a Jewish top. There was a compass, and there was a deck of playing cards from Austria, where he was born. People always ask why there were playing cards there. I mean, this is Albert Einstein. He wasn't playing blackjack on the weekends. Although he could have. He was a mathematician. He probably would have done very well. But I'll show you why. See, Einstein was fascinated with the idea of two separate events occurring within one closed universe. The playing cards represent the closed universe. That's what he was experimenting with. So what I'm going to show you now isn't really a magic trick, but it absolutely is something that I find fascinating. Would you do me a favor? As I spread, just touch one. We won't take it away, but just touch it. That one. I want you to lock it in. In fact, actually take it, show everyone else. Let everybody see the card. Got it? And do me a favor, say stop. Stop right here. For this to be a true experiment, though, we have to give them a quick one of these. Now here's the idea. Right now there's a 100% chance that your card will be lost in the pack. But if we were to divide the deck into two absolutely even piles, well, see, now it becomes a 50-50 shot. See, I eliminate half of the card, and I only get to keep the cards that are in front of me. Does that make sense? That's the entire idea, is 50-50 shot. Now, 50-50 isn't very impressive, I'll admit. But there's still, it's an interesting thing to think about. If we drop it down again, though, this will actually make it a 75% chance that I've thrown the card away. See, these are the two events occurring within the closed universe. If we do this again, it actually brings the number up to 86% chance that I've thrown the card away. We could take it to 92, in fact. 92 means that I only have 3 cards left. And if we eliminate down to just one, that's 2%. 2% of the time, Einstein found that he would be left with this card. Which one did you have? How many? The problem is that it's not fair. I'm the magician, so this does look kind of like a magic trick. So here's what we're going to try. Could you do me a favor and mix these up? I just have faith in your ability to shuffle.
Not a good thing.
Well, you happy with that? So here's the idea. You could have shuffled the cards in any way that you wanted, and that's the very important part. So there's no telling where the card is. So if we were to do this again, and it still worked, well, then I could give the credit to you. Or we could give the credit to Einstein. It was his experiment. But this, again, 50-50 shot. This has me fascinated because the numbers that go into this, actually having the same thing occur twice, the odds are actually about 650,000 to 1 that this would occur. By the way, we can keep mixing the cards. It doesn't really matter how much you shuffle, just so long as you're left with only one at the end. So right now, this is again 75% chance of time. And a couple of these. So that's. I hope I get this one right. This will be fantastic. Which one was it? Was it really? Okay. That's all right. It's all right. Won't pretend. Whatever. It's an experiment, not a magic trick. Still leaves me with 3. That again, 92% of the time. Let's just see. 92%. Let's see what we get. Oh, the 3. Okay, I was off by 1. That's okay. You know what, though? If you think about it, it's not okay to be off by 1, because this isn't really a show for science experiments. This is a show for magic. And if this were magic, then, well, you'd always be right. Glad that worked. We began the show by talking about the different values of the cards. One value from the other, the cards, all the fun stuff. Along those lines, there's one card in the deck that has absolutely no value assigned to it, and that's the Joker. That's where the phrase Jokers are wild comes from. So I'd like to show you a card, or something with a card with no value. Before we begin, I also want to mention another one of those little fun things about behind the scenes in the magic world. I told you about don't do the same trick twice. There's another one. That's we never tell people what we're going to do before we do it. And there's a reason. See, if I guess you could say I can lead you down the garden path, but make a left turn whenever I want. That's where the matches come from, by the way. If I tell you in advance the matches that I plan to put the matches back in the book, well, then you're not going to take your eyes off the chain. So it kind of makes sense if you really think about it that we don't want you to know what's coming. But if I were to tell you what's coming, well, then you would have a head start. So I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen, and then I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it right here a couple of times because I really want you to see it go. So the idea is that I'm going to place a card into the middle of the pack. Then I'm going to do a secret magic move that looks like that. And when I do, the card's going to jump back to the top. Obviously, it's not very impressive, as evidenced by the round of indifference. But there's a reason. There's a reason. And I don't blame you. I blame the fact that the card has no value. If the card has no value, well, who cares if it comes to the top? So we have to give the card value. Do me a favor. Sir, I'm going to hand you the card and the marker. Write your name, big bold letters, right across the front.
I don't wear a name.
We'll work with it. Take the marker back. Awesome. Oh, no, it's fine. Caleb. All right.
Callum.
Callum.
Told you.
No worries. Callum, this card, because it has your name on it, I would be willing to bet, judging by the company that you keep, that you're more valuable than any one of these cards individually. Fair to say? So, Callum, if your card were to go into the middle, and I were to do that move, and it were to jump to the top, that would be impressive. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, especially those in the back. You're thinking, oh, at the exact moment I looked over here at these guys, he did one of these sneaky magic things on the deck. But that would be cheating, and I wouldn't do it to you. It's not fair, and that's not how I play. Callum, the card goes right in the middle. I do the... If I don't do the move, by the way, and this I've always found interesting, if you don't do the secret magic move, the trick doesn't work. Nothing happens. It's only when you do the move that the card jumps. What if we could make it better? Think about it. I'm using both hands. I talk a lot, move around a little bit. What if we simplify it down to 2 fingers? Master magician using only 2 fingers, imagine the possibilities. Again, only 2 fingers. Callum, your card goes into the middle, about as close as we can get it to go, with only 2 fingers. But we can make it better. See, 2 fingers still leaves me with 2 hands. So if I eliminate 1 hand, there's no way that I could manipulate anything with it. That leaves me really as the one-handed magician for the night, I guess. Again, Callum, only 1 card, 1 hand, and 1 move. Now, just to double check, sometimes I get lucky. No, not tonight. Don't make a joke there, that's not allowed. It just takes the move. And when I do the move, the card jumps. There's only one way that I can really think of to make this better, just in my own mind. See, so far I'm taking the card and putting it about halfway down. But if we go through the very bottom of the deck, from the very bottom to the very top, we give it a little rub, just like that, your card goes. Good. Don't worry. You know where it goes. Because I gave up the mystery. And that's the problem with this. If I were to tell you in advance what was going to happen, I would rob you of something. The point is the mystery. We have to hang on to the mystery. What mystery we have left? See, the question you should have been asking yourself wasn't where does the card, or how does the card go to the top? Where does the card go in the first place? And the answer is really simple if you think about it. Because a few minutes ago, I put my hand in my pocket to make sure that I couldn't manipulate anything. So if by some strange twist of fate I were to say I have a playing card over here, that would be pretty good. And Callum, I want you to notice that all of the cards in front of you have a value, but not one of them has the same value as the one with your name on it. I'd like to leave you with this as a little souvenir of the evening.
Thank you.
Don't drop that, that would be embarrassing. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to propose a slight toast. A toast to the mystery. The mystery that we all get to cherish in our lives. And if we're experimenting with mystery, we might as well go all out. See, that's mystery. That's magic. And that's the You know, guys, I think we're running a little, actually we're running pretty well on time. Do you guys have time for one more?
Yes.
See, if you think about it, time is all that we really do have. Time is something that we created. Time is an absolutely man-made thing. On the subject of time. See, time is something that man created to distinguish, say, now from now. And that's the entire purpose behind it. Without that concept, we would all be lost. Some people think of time with a beginning and an end. It's just one long, solid piece. But if you think about it, everyone views time in different ways. See, philosophers like to break time down into centuries or decades. Children, interestingly enough, can only think of time in terms of years. They were sediments of that. As you become slightly more middle-aged, you start thinking of time in terms of months, hours, even seconds. These are millions of moments that make up our lives. Millions of moments that form our eternity. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Jeff Korn. Again, thank you all for coming out and making this a very special evening for me. I hope to see you all again very, very soon.
Where do you perform the latest?
Everywhere. Thank you guys.
Right. No, I was at,
My daughter.
I got my first zombie ball last night.